It's time for a flashback into Black Clover chapter 268. Hey YouTube, it's basically anime. Today we have Black Clover chapter 268 to review / react for you guys today. Now, I don't know if you've seen this chapter, but let me say, it's one of the best chapters we've seen from Black Clover, period. Not even the recent manga series, but from Black Clover, period. So if you're first time into this channel, feel free to stick around and subscribe for more Black Clover manga and anime related content. Anyway, the chapter starts off where we left off on chapter 267 with that big bombshell. Either way, back at this fight, sort of, Asta says, just because they're a devil doesn't necessarily mean you're a bad guy. AMD hears this and grits his teeth, and then we get the flashback we've been waiting for a while now. It starts off as chapter 268 introduces it as Akuma / devil. Anyway, we hear it monologue into this dark place. Devils, or beings start their new life in the afterworld. Since birth, rank between devils are settled, and there's no way that it'll turn around. Afterworld is boring, therefore the higher ranks relieve their burden by bullying the lower ranks, and the lower rank bullies the ones who are lower than them. So now we get a peek into these beings' lifestyle in the afterworld or the underworld, whatever. We get a peek into what they do for life, what they do for boredom, I guess, which is bully other people lower than them. It's not a place you would want to be in. This is just a place of negativity and just bullying. It's a cycle of bullying. You bully, 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 bully. It's probably not a place you would want to live in. Anyway, we then see AMD finally get introduced, but he's little. He's a kid, born without any mana. I am definitely the lowest among all. Not a day goes by that I don't bleed. As we see a panel of two higher ranks beating him up and just bullying him. Now, I want to focus on the statement said by him. Born without any mana. I'm definitely the lowest among all. Now we know he's the AMD anti-magic, so this can mean two things. Either way, with his anti-magic, and he has no mana, right? But even though with his anti-magic, he is the lowest of all, or he doesn't know of his anti-magic and he considers himself the lowest. Now it's very important to note that, because if he knows he has anti-magic and he still considers himself the lowest, and we see how his power transcends into Asta's physical world, how strong are the ones above him? How strong is the highest ranking one? Who, okay, I'm not going to get into that, but how strong is all the higher ranks? Either way, in that world, for devils to play with humans is the highest form of pleasure. Everyone wants to go to the world where humans exist. So now we know that they can just cross over whenever they want. And we don't know what time frame this is. Might be 50 years before 20. We don't know the time frame, but we're going to see what's going on. Anyway, on that day, the high-ranking being who was in a bad mood threw me up to the gate of the afterworld, thought my body was shattered after bumping me into the door. But since I had no mana, I passed to the gate, and I came out to the human world all of a sudden. So now we see this high-ranking being like scooped up AMD in a little ball and just threw him at the ceiling, and he just came out on the other side. That's pretty cool. Anyway, we see him walking through the village. Now, based on this panel, I don't think this is common time, or at least close to modern. Looks like 100, maybe 200 years before Asa's time, just because it's a small village. We don't know if they're cities, but I guess it's a village. Either way, he says, I had no feelings or harsh feelings against you humans. Maybe because my powers was so weak, having no mana, or perhaps I was already worn out, meaning he wasn't bothering himself with any humans. But at the same time, is he flashing back by himself? Can Asta and Noct hear this? I want to know if Asta and Noct is hearing what AMD is saying, or this is just some sort of personal flashback. Either way, we see the villagers scream at him, but because I was a devil, they feared me and hated me a lot. That's a devil. Run away. We'll be cursed. Call the Magic Knights. So we now know this isn't an era where there's Magic Knights, but just based on their reactions, I don't think it's modern. Like, I think it's probably at the start of the Magic Knights, just because they already know who this dude is. I mean, back in the modern time, nobody, like, back there, it's like devils, elves, all that dwarf stuff. They're folklore. They're like book fairy tale stuff. So a lot of time had to pass for them to get, like, a lot of time had to pass for it to become fairy tales. Now we see that they recognize this dude. Like, just all of a sudden they recognize this dude, like out of thin air. They know he's a devil. So now we know that back then humans, dwarf, elves, whatever, they must have mingled more, or like they must have knew of each other. Now they're all at their separate places, and the humans thinks all of these are fairy tales. Either way, it's near the start of the Magic Nights. Anyway, IMD says, after getting chased by humans for strong magic power or weak magic power or whatever, my body stopped moving and I was ready for my death. Finally, this garbage life will come to an end as AMD is about to die. But next time, when I wake up, he's in a bed somewhere and he hears a voice. Oh, did you wake up? That's a relief. And we see a woman that looks surprisingly like Asta, and other people might know her as Asta's mom. I'm Licita, so now we know her name is Licita or Licita, so we can stop calling her Asta's mom and actually give her a name. This is my house. Nice to meet you. And she sort of like gives him medicine. Anyway, and this is my magic. I can store something that doesn't contain mana in another one and pull it out. I transferred you with this. And anyways, I was surprised. Now let's talk about her magic now. A lot of people have been wanting to know this. For all, this is the description. And this is my magic. As we see her pull something out of... Okay, she has a bottle in her hand. A small bottle. And she's able to pull out a bunch of sticks. And this is my magic. I can store something that doesn't contain mana in another one and pull it out. I transfer you with this. So it's sort of like some placement magic. So what she's trying to say, she could take a huge boulder, gigantic boulder with no mana, and put it inside of a water bottle that's like 50 times smaller than the boulder. So I guess she has some sort of shrinking magic or shrinking ceiling magic. Either way, she says. Anyways, I was surprised. The other day I picked up a 5-leaf clover grimoire, and I actually met with a devil. Maybe the superstition of the 5-leaf clover was real after all. So now we know the origin of the 5-leaf clover, or at least this is the first time we're actually seeing it in this flashback. So we now know the original holder of this 5-leaf clover is Asta's mom, or Asta's... This, now that I'm thinking about it, this might be Asta's ancestors. I don't think this is directly Asta's mom, but maybe his ancestor. There's too much time passed. Either way, she says she just found a 5-leaf clover. Maybe it was passed down in generations for Asta. Either way, the AMD's just staring at her like, aren't you scared of me? And then she says, "What? No way! I'd be scared of an injured kid. Moreover, a poor kid." Okay, she said, "Moreover, a poor kid without any mana." So either she's dumb and she doesn't know that this kid is not really a kid, or she just sees him as a kid in any form, in any way. And I'm no less at being hatred compared to a devil. So she's hated too, I guess. I mean, and I am no less at being hated compared. So I'm guessing the city must hate her because they think she's weird, or the village might hate her because she thinks she's weird. And out of nowhere, a snake comes out of... Then a snake just comes out of the walls. And she notices the snake and says, "Oh, this is venomous. Have this body that takes either mana or vital energy of anything nearby me." This is the start of anti-magic. So either this anti-magic came from AMD, or this lady who calls herself Lakita. This is revealing so much. She says, I have this body that takes either mana or vital energy of anything nearby me. Now this is probably a stronger version of Asta's watered down anti-magic. Instead of her using weapons or having to touch people with these weapons, anybody that comes close to her will die, as we see with the snake that was coming close to her, obviously just all of a sudden just got sucked out of thin air. So I am living alone from this place located far from the village. We've been revealed so much already. She found the 5-leaf clover. AMD's a kid, and now she has anti-magic, or like a stronger, better version of anti-magic. This flashback is amazing already. But the AMD response is saying, "But maybe because you're a devil without any mana, or a life, like vital force won't be..." Okay, actually the mom says this, or the descent, whatever she is, Lakita. She says, "But maybe because you're a kid without any mana, or your mana or vital force won't be absorbed by me." This, don't you think this is fate? Hugh, what do you think of being my child? AMD's just like, what? Now, this Licita woman, she's spontaneous. I mean, I guess that she's pretty cool and pretty funny too. So basically what's going on, she says, since you don't have any mana, and I can take your mana since you don't have any mana, I mean, we might as well be friends. So she asks AMD, wanna be my son? And we see a whole like a panel or whole panel of flashbacks or happy times. We see them going fishing. We see them staring at a dragonfly. We see them running around playing. We see them showering together, throwing leaves in the air, eating food together, sleeping together. This is just a mom-son relationship that we've seen, that we've developed, and now we know that the anti-magic came from this woman, Licita, rather than AMD. So do we still call him AMD? Maybe we just call him like D or something? Anyway, he says, while like thinking over all the happy times, that human has changed my world. Just because they're a devil doesn't necessarily mean that you're a bad guy. Likewise, you are not a bad guy. Because you saved me from agony called lonership, being lonely. Thank you, Ribe. Okay, now we have two flashbacks or two major stuff. This is crazy. Okay, now we know that the anti-magic did not come from AMD. We also know that this is the statement that caused AMD to flashback in the first place. Asta says just because you're a demon doesn't mean you're a bad guy. Likewise, you're not a bad guy. Asta's, I'm hoping ancestor said the same thing, so of course he would flash back to her. Anyway, the AMD, after hearing this, is saying, no, and then he starts to, his mana or his mind just starts to break, and she screams, Ribe, what's wrong? I am, as she's struggling to speak. Lucifero, out of nowhere, AMD's mana just starts to just jump out of his body, and he starts to scream. Didn't think that there would be a devil who can exist in the human world without having a contract with a human. Well, I'm glad I found it for killing my time. I found, yeah, the superior devil. My body won't move. So now we see AMD is getting possessed by Lucifero. Anyway, I found something good. I'll find a way to manifest my body to the human world using my key. And then Asta's ancestor or Licita screams, what the heck are you? Get away from Ribe's body, as she sort of tackles him. Foolish human. Even if I can't use most of my power, I can take you. The woman is absorbing my mana. As we all know that the anti-magic is coming from Licita, she's grabbing this Lucifero who's currently possessing AMD. And she says, this woman is absorbing my mana. How dare you, stupid woman. As she's AMD screaming, stop, don't hurt her. I won't let you go for this. I won't let you go this time. Out of nowhere, Lucifero, who is possessing AMD, out of nowhere, these black tendrils come out of nowhere and stab Licita. I'm hoping Asta's ancestors. You cannot take this child away from me, she screams. How? Never thought that a human like this would get in my way, but I can interfere with the devils of inferior rank anytime. See you soon. As Lucifero just goes away, he just goes back inside the AMD. AMD screams, Licita? Sorry, I'm an idiot. This is the only way that I could think of protecting you against him. And now we see the bottle that she used to seal all those logs the first time we saw her magic. She used it to seal Lucifero in it. I'll put you in the 5-leaf grimoire with my magic, but by the next time that you'll be out from here, you must have grown stronger. Live, Ribe, my beloved son. Mother, AMD says. I can't forgive. So, what just happened? This flashback was amazing. We now know the anti-magic came from Licita, Asta's ancestor, I'm thinking. I don't think it's his mom, but ancestor. And she just went against Lucifero, and she can absorb mana with her hands. But unfortunately, Lucifero did manage to like stop her with a fatal wound, and she sealed Lucifero into this bottle that she was using, and she also sealed AMD into the 5-leaf grimoire. Live, Ribe, my beloved son. Mother, now we transition back to where they were fighting AMD versus Asta. I can't forgive this malice. It won't go away, AMD says. All devils are scumbags. I'll kill them all, even by taking your body away. Wow. Just wow. This chapter was amazing. Let me do a quick recap. AMD somehow got thrown into like a little kid into the human world, Licita kind of like adopt him. Now we don't know if it's confirmed that this is Asta's mom or Asta's ancestor, but sort of like AMD became her child. We now know that she's found the she found the 5-leaf grimoire, and she also is like the founder of anti-magic, I guess. So she doesn't need anti-magic weapons, but so yeah, she doesn't need anti-magic weapons. She is anti-magic herself. But yeah, so next we also found out that Lucifero killed Asta's ancestor. That's why Asta had that flashback when fighting Dante, because Lucifero or Dante belongs to Lucifero or Lucifero belongs to Dante. Either way, this chapter was amazing. Let me know what you guys thought about this. This is so much to say and not enough time to do it, but let me know what you guys thought about this chapter. I'm giving it a 20 out of 10, 50 out of 10, 100 out of 10, a million out of 10. But just let me know what you guys thought about it down in the comments. If you're first time with this channel, if you love Black Clover anime and manga content like me, feel free to subscribe to the channel, tune in for more, turn on your post notifications so you get notified every time I post.